What is up, y'all? How y'all doing? This is your man Shawn. I'm with Pam Transport and Driver Solutions. Today we're going to talk about a little something special. It's called your lifeline in the trucking industry. Your good old D.O.T clock. This video is basically for the new drivers that's coming in that might want to look for a better explanation of how your hours of service work. And so hopefully this video can provide that for you guys. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comment section and I'll answer them in my next video. Remember to go ahead and join our Facebook group, Driving with Shawn. The link is in the description. And also you can follow us on Twitter at Drive with Shawn. So here we go. Hope you guys like the video. Remember, share and like it. And that's it. Alrighty, so for this video we're going to use an hour of service summary chart, and this chart includes 4 different columns. The first column is the hours that you spent each individual day on duty time, including drive. Column A is going to be your total on duty hours for the last 7 days. Column B is going to be your 70 hours, and you're going to subtract it from the value of column A on each day. And then column C is going to be your total on-duty hours for the last 8 days. Now, to make things simple here, column A and column C will always be the same. Those 2 columns you are going to add, and then in column B you are going to subtract. So these 2 you add, this you subtract from column A, and then here this is going to fluctuate based on how much time you spent each day working. So before we get started with the chart, let's get our time set up for each individual day. So day 1, we're going to say we did 10 hours. Day 2, we're going to say we did 10 hours. Day 3, let's say we did 8 hours. Day 4, we're feeling good, so we did another 10 hours. Day 5, let's say we delivered a load and we didn't get a load after that for the rest of the day. So we say we only got 5 hours in. Day 6, we're gonna say we did 10 hours, got plenty of rest. And then day 7, we're gonna say we did 9 hours. So let's get started here. So we just came fresh off a reset, 34-hour reset. So we're gonna say we had 0 hours for the last 7 days. We're gonna have 0 hours work today, 0 hours for the last 7 days, 70 full hours, and we're gonna say 0 hours for the last 8 days. So now day 1 comes. We're gonna say that since we worked the 10 hours that day, we're gonna put 10 under the hours worked today. Column A, we're gonna say last 7 days, 10 hours. Now we're going to go ahead and do column B. You're going to subtract the 70, or the 10 from the 70. Remember, you're going to subtract 70 from each value in column A. So that's going to bring us down to 60 hours. Column C, we're going to add. So it's going to be 10. Remember, total hours on duty 8 days and total hours on duty 7 days are going to be the same. You add in both columns. Alright, so that's that day. We're going to go to day 2 here, and as you can see, day 2 we did another 10 hours. So now you're going to add, say, 10 hours here work today. We're going to add 10 hours to the last 7 days of on duty time, so that's going to become 20 hours, 10 plus 10. And then we're going to say 70 minus 20, which is going to bring us down to 50 hours of available working time. and you're going to add in column C. 10 plus 10 equals 20. So now day 3, we worked 8 hours. So we worked 8 hours that day. We have a total of 20 plus 8, which is 28 hours on the last 7 days. And now we're going to subtract the 70 from the 28, and that's going to give us a whopping 42. And then you're going to add again. So the 20 plus the 8 hours that you worked is going to give you 28 hours of on-duty time last 8 days. Again, it's the same as the 7-day. Day 4, we felt good and we went on and worked a good 10 hours. So 10 hours worked that day. You're going to say the 28 plus 10, which gives you 38. And then you're going to subtract the 70 from the 38, and you're going to get 32. You're going to add 28 plus the 10, that's going to give you 38. And now we're going to go to day 5. Day 5, we didn't do so good. We only got 5 hours out of the day. So 5 hours worked the day. Total hours for the 7 days is going to give us 43. 70 minus 43 is going to give us 27. Okay, and then you're going to add 38 plus the 5, which is going to give you 43. Day 6, we got plenty of rest. We got 10 hours again. And it's going to bring us to 53. 43 plus 10 equals 53. And that's going to be 70 minus 53. And that's going to bring us down to 17 hours. Then you're going to add the 10 hours to the 43, and that's going to give you 53. Now, if you wanted to, we're going to pause here for a second. Now, if you wanted to, when we got down to this point of day 4 of having 32 hours of available time, we could request that we take a 34-hour reset. 34-hour reset can be taken whenever you have 34 hours or less of available work time on your 70-hour clock. And that requires you to sit for 34 consecutive hours of off-duty time. They can be off-duty or sleeper berth. After that 34-hour period is over, all this doesn't matter anymore. You're going to go back and have a fresh start like we did up here. Have a full 70 hours. Okay, so let's go back to day 7 here. Day 7, we worked 9 hours. So we worked 9 hours, and so you're going to add 9 to 53, and that's going to give us 62. So now we're going to subtract 70 from 62, and that's going to leave us with 8 hours. At this point, you pretty much need to do a 34-hour reset. Or actually, after the 8th day, you'll start getting rollback time, but that's going to be another video discussion there. So we're going to add the 9 to the 53, and that's going to give us 62. And that's where we are. So without the rollback time, at this point, we'll need to go ahead and do a 34-hour reset. So that is all. I mean, you can keep going. You just have to follow the same thing. Let's say we have a day 8 in here. And since we only have 8 hours, out of the 8 hours, let's say we worked 6 hours. So we're going to say 6 hours today. We're going to add the 6 to the 62, and it's going to give us 68 hours. and we're going to subtract the 68 from the 70, and that's going to leave us with 2 hours. We're going to add the 6 to the 62, and that's going to give us 68. So at this point, you really need a 34-hour reset. So that is my explanation of the this portion of the 8-day or 70-hour 8-day rule for your DOT clock. The other portion of the video here, we're going to talk about the rest of your clocks for the daily basis. You have a 8-hour clock. You have a 11-hour clock. You have a 14-hour clock. And then you have your 70-hour clock. And I'll explain each one. So the 8-hour clock is one of the clocks that you have that continuously count down. The only way you can restart this clock is by taking a 30-minute mandatory break. So let's say we just did we just came off a 10-hour break here, and we did our pre-trip, 30 minutes, 35 minutes or whatever. So let's say we roughly have about 7 hours and 25 minutes. So we can now drive for 7 hours and 25 minutes before we absolutely have to shut down for a 30-minute reset. Now, a rule of thumb for me, I find it much easier to go ahead and drive this clock down until you get under 3.5 hours. Doing so will allow you to reset your clock and get the remaining time back, whether it's on your 11-hour or your 14-hour, without having to stop to do another 30-minute reset to reset the clock again. Now, if you do this before you get under 3.5 hours, you will be forcing yourself to do another 30-minute reset, because once you get, or if you do it before 3.5 hours and that clock resets, you're still going to have 8 hours when the rest of your clocks are still well above, or still above 8 hours. And your DOT clock on your electronic log goes off of the lowest amount of time you have available to drive or work. So, like I said, if you're under 3.5 hours when you decide to do your 30-minute reset, that'll give you the remaining time, because these two clocks here will be under 8 hours. Your 11-hour clock is what is your drive time. In a 24-hour period, you have 11 hours to drive. You cannot exceed that 11 hours of drive time. If you do, you go into violation. Your 14 hours is the total hours you have available in a 24-hour period to work, or to spend on duty and or drive. So you cannot exceed 14 hours of total on duty and drive time within a 24-hour period without taking a 10-hour consecutive break. So say you drove your 11, or say you drove 8 hours and you spent 2 hours on duty. That'll give you a total of 10 hours. So that'll be 10 hours out of your 14-hour, or out of your 14-hour clock. So that leaves you with a 2-hour window, and that's what your DOT clock should be on, 2 hours. Now the 70-hour clock is basically the same thing we covered up here. Okay, this is your 70-hour clock here. And that's going to show how many hours you have available to work within the next 8 days. So again, for a recap, your 8-hour clock is going to continuously count down, as well as your 14-hour clock. The only clock that stops when you go off duty is your 11-hour and your 70-hour. So as a good rule of thumb for your 8-hour clock, you want to try and take your 30-minute reset anytime after you reach 3.5 hours. Doing so will keep you from having to sit again for another 30 minutes to reset your clock again. I mean, unless you just like taking breaks, then that's fine. But me, I like to do more driving than sitting. So now your 11-hour clock is your drive time. You cannot exceed 11 hours of drive time in a 24-hour period. Once you get to your 11 hours of drive time, you must take a 10-hour consecutive break. Your 14-hour clock is a accumulation of your drive and on-duty time. So 14 hours in a 24-hour period, you can't exceed the 14 hours of being on duty or driving. You have to take a 10-hour consecutive break to reset that as well. And then your 70-hour, the only way you can reset your 70 hours is by taking a 34-hour reset. And a 34-hour reset has to include 34 consecutive hours of sleeper, berth, or off duty. And so that is it. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section, and I will answer them in my next video. Go ahead and like, comment, and share. You can check us out on Facebook. The link will be down in the description. Join our group. Say hello. You know, if you have any questions, you can post them there as well. And you can follow us on Twitter at Drive with Shawn. And that's it. So until next time, peace out, guys.